Welcome to the fascinating world of finance and economics. Today we delve into the mind of Robert Kiyosaki. An American entrepreneur, author, and founder of the Rich Dad Company, Kiyosaki's influence stretches far and wide. His best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has become a cornerstone of personal finance literature, challenging traditional notions of money, investing, and the path to wealth. But his insights don't stop there. In his book, Increase Your Financial IQ, Kiyosaki takes us on a journey through the four economic ages of humanity, offering a unique perspective on how wealth has been created and distributed throughout history. From the hunter-gatherer age to the information age, he paints a vivid picture of our economic evolution. So put on your thinking caps and strap in. Join us as we journey through the economic ages of humanity, as seen through the eyes of Robert Kiyosaki. Our journey begins at the dawn of humanity, in the hunter-gatherer age. In this primal period of our existence, we were wholly dependent on the whims of Mother Nature, hunting and foraging for our sustenance. Wealth was not measured in gold or property, but in the bounty of the earth and the skill to harvest it. Humanity was nomadic, following the ebb and flow of seasons and animal migrations. The concept of home was as transient as the next food source. A good hunting ground or a forest rich in edible vegetation determined the location of their temporary settlements. You had to know how to track a deer, set a trap, or identify an edible berry. Survival was not a right. It was earned through grit, cunning, and a keen understanding of the natural world. In this age, the tribe was the lifeline. It provided security, shared knowledge, and a sense of belonging. The tribe was a collective of hunters and gatherers, each contributing to the survival of the community. There were no kings or paupers, no landowners or serfs. The socioeconomic structure was as flat as the plains they traversed. They were all equal, bound by the common struggle of survival. Yet this equality was not one of abundance, but of scarcity. They were all poor, their lives dictated by the caprices of nature and the constant search for food. There was no surplus, no concept of saving for a rainy day. Life was lived in the present, each day a renewed struggle against hunger and the elements. As we trace our economic evolution, it's essential to remember this age. It was a time when wealth was not hoarded but shared, when the measure of a person's worth was their contribution to the community, not their possessions. It was an age of brutal simplicity, where the lines between life and death were razor thin. In this age, everyone was equal in their poverty. But as we'll see in the next stage of our journey, the agrarian age, the advent of new technology and the concept of land ownership, would dramatically reshape the economic landscape. As technology developed, so did society, leading us into the agrarian age. This era marked a colossal shift from the nomadic lifestyle of the hunter-gatherer age. The ability to plant and cultivate the land presented new opportunities and a new way of life. It was a time when the seeds of technology were sown, and with them, the roots of class division. The agrarian age saw the birth of a new societal structure. The land, once a common resource for all, became a possession, a symbol of power. Those who owned the land ascended to a new status. They became the royals, the aristocracy. Their wealth was tied to the fertile soil they owned. The more land you controlled, the richer you were. On the other side of the coin, those who worked the land, tilling the soil and reaping its fruits, were the peasants. They walked the earth they could never own, bound by a life of servitude. The royals rode horses, while the peasants walked. A stark contrast that painted a clear picture of the socio-economic divide. Land became the ultimate symbol of wealth and power. It was no longer merely a source of food and shelter, it was a status symbol, a commodity, a means to exert control. This shift marked the beginning of an economic disparity that would echo through the ages. The agrarian age was a time of great progress, but also a time of great inequality. The development of technology to cultivate the land was a double-edged sword. It sowed the seeds of civilization, but also watered the roots of class division. The land was no longer a shared bounty, but a possession that divided the people into two distinct groups, the rich and the poor. In this age, wealth was tied to the land, leading to a divide between the rich and the poor. The agrarian age laid the foundation for the economic structures that continue to shape our world today. It was an era that taught us the value of land and the power of ownership, a lesson that remains relevant as we navigate the economic landscapes of the modern world. The next leap in human development brought us into the industrial age. This era is often associated with the rise of factories in the 1800s, but some would argue it was ushered in much earlier, in 1492, with Columbus's expedition to find the New World. His mission was not just about discovery, but also about the pursuit of valuable resources like oil, copper, tin, and rubber. As we moved into the industrial age, the value of real estate underwent a significant shift. No longer was land merely a platform for growing crops. Instead, it became a source of these valuable resources, transforming the landscape, both literally and economically. The land's value skyrocketed, not only for the resources it could provide, but also for the industrial potential it held. Factories sprung up, mass production took hold, and the world as we knew it was forever changed. The industrial age also prompted the emergence of a new socio-economic class, the middle class. This class was a product of increased job opportunities and better wages that the Industrial Revolution brought about. Workers were no longer just peasants tilling the land. They were now factory workers, engineers, and business people, creating and managing the industries that would shape the world. However, the rise of the middle class also led to a widening wealth gap. The rich became richer, leveraging the value of the land and the industries they owned. At the same time, the poor remained poor, often working in harsh conditions for minimal wages. And sandwiched between these two extremes was the middle class, a group that enjoyed better living standards than the poor, but lacked the wealth and influence of the rich. The industrial age was a time of great change and development. It was an era that redefined the value of land, reshaped the economic structure, and introduced a new socio-economic class. But as with all ages, it had its winners and losers, and its impacts are still felt today. In this age, the value of land increased, and a new class, the middle class, emerged. Today, we find ourselves in the information age. The world as we know it has been transformed by the power of information and the technologies that leverage it. Information has become the new currency, and it's not just about collecting data, but about how we interpret, manipulate, and use that data to create wealth. Think about it. The resources that drive this age are not tangible, physical elements like land or oil. They are intangible, relatively inexpensive elements like silicon, the primary component of microchips, transistors, and most semiconductors, which are the building blocks of our modern digital world. In this age, the concept of wealth has evolved. It's no longer reserved for those who own vast tracts of land or massive factories. It's available to anyone with a groundbreaking idea, a revolutionary app, or a disruptive technology. The price of entry into the ranks of the wealthy has significantly reduced. However, this doesn't mean wealth is evenly distributed. Far from it. The gap between the rich and the poor has widened, and a new class has emerged, the super rich. These are individuals and corporations that have mastered the art of using information. They understand the power of data, the influence of technology, and the impact of innovation. Now, we have four socioeconomic groups: the poor, the middle class, the rich, and the super rich. According to a report by Bloomberg, the middle class in America now holds a smaller share of U.S. wealth than the top 1%. This is a testament to the transformative power of information and technology. In the information age, money as we traditionally understand it has taken on a whole new meaning. It's not just about physical currency anymore, it's about control and manipulation of information. The rich and the super rich have become experts at this. They know how to use information to generate wealth, influence decisions, and shape the world. In this age, wealth is available to everyone, and a new group, the super rich, has emerged. Just as the hunter-gatherers evolved to farmers and farmers to industrialists today, we must evolve to become information savvy if we are to succeed in the information age. Now let's consider the reality of money today. A recent report by Bloomberg paints a stark picture of wealth distribution in the United States. It reveals that, after years of decline, the middle class now holds less of the nation's wealth than the top 1%. This shift in wealth accumulation signifies a new era of economic disparity. In the information age, wealth isn't bound by land or resources. It's information leveraged by technology that generates riches. The cost of becoming wealthy has reduced significantly, making wealth a possibility for almost everyone. However, the distribution of this wealth is uneven. The rich and the super rich have mastered the art of controlling and manipulating information to their advantage, escalating their wealth exponentially. This new reality of money is a far cry from the equal poverty of the hunter-gatherer age or the land-based wealth of the agrarian and industrial ages. The reality is that money is no longer money, it is a full currency, and the true value in a currency world is being able to control and manipulate information. That is what the rich and the super rich have become experts at.